kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
All right, everybody. Oh, the back of the background, Dom. It's like my room inside my room inside my room. That's not what we wanted, buddy. Let me find the thing. Here we go. This looks more normal. All right, that's cleaner. Okay. How you doing, everybody? I'm sorry for being late. I had issues on my end. Laggy Laggerton is my name in certain circles, so I had to clean some things up. I appreciate you guys waiting. I'm GreenBean. Welcome to the Thursday Thick of It. That guy right there is my good friend Dom C. And Gunny may or may not make it. His very insensitive employer decided to keep him late. So what are you going to do? Sometimes it happens. Happens to the best of us, as they say. So, Dom, how you doing tonight, buddy? You ready to talk some Jets?
I'm always ready to talk to Jets. And in regards to Gunny's employee, if employee made me miss Thursday, think of it, I'd quit on the spot.
There you go.
That's how loyal I am.
You say, hey, don't you understand what tonight is?
Yeah. Don't you know? Don't you know the Beaner is going to get angry if I'm late?
It's the Thursday Thick of It, boss. How much time do you got to put into that? Hey, I've been doing it for years, buddy.
Did my winter cap like inspire you to change into yours?
No. Although I did notice, and I do love your cap. Now that's a Reese's Senior Bowl winter cap.
Yes,
but you know what? I got this like 2 years. My head was actually cold, Dom. That's what. Really,
yeah, it's freezing up here. That's why and you know my little office area is in the basement, and it's just brutally cold.
Yeah, and I'm outside, so I'm 100 feet from my house, and I got it's very well insulated, but it's a weird thing that happens here. This little corner that I've chosen to set up my podcast studio is freezing. Like if I went over there, it's warm. I swear to God, over in that corner, it's warm. It's free. Like there's a breeze. There's like a little hole somewhere, and it just it blows wind around and everything. But you know what, Dom? I got to tell you, you have a ball on top of your hat.
Mm-hmm.
I have a ball on top of my hat. And it was a long time that I didn't wear, like I wore hats without the ball because I was a man. You know what I mean? I grew up. And I'm back to loving the ball. Who loves the ball on there?
Who loves balls? Come on. Who loves balls?
Who loves the ball caps?
This is actually funny, true story. I go down to Senior Bowl every year. The tradition now. I'm grateful to do it. I'm grateful to be able to do it. And I always bring my kids home something. Like the boys get the shirts, has all the players' names, this and that. And they say, oh yeah, I know GreenBean, I know blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, my daughter doesn't want a shirt. What am I going to get her? So I bought her this hat. She fucking hates it.
She hates it.
Yeah. She's like, thanks. And I'm like, all right. So now what I do is I didn't buy her anything at the Senior Bowl. I buy her something in Atlanta Airport because that's like, it's like you're walking down Fifth Avenue when you're in Atlanta Airport. It's so many stores. So I buy her something in there.
Atlanta Airport. I've done my fair share of time in Atlanta Airport. If you remember the first year we went to the Senior Bowl, you and I went down. We didn't go down together, but we met down there.
Yeah.
And the night that I went down, I flew into Atlanta, and then my flight to Pensacola got delayed till the morning.
Yeah.
So they gave me this little satchel, Dom. They said, well, here, we'll give you 2 food vouchers, one for dinner, one for breakfast, and we'll reroute your flight. And here's a little satchel. I said, what's this? She goes, these are our care satchel. I was like, okay. I took the little satchel, and in there was a toothbrush, a little toothpaste, some fucking wet naps, some toothpicks and shit like that. And I did a live stream from the Atlanta airport, and I slept on a couch, and it was like, it's crazy. I was there for like, I don't know, 15 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I remember because even though we came differently, my flight also from Atlanta to Mobile got canceled. And I hopped in a car at 10:30 at night and just drove my ass straight there.
Well, and that's funny because when I booked to stay down at the Senior Bowl till after the game, I had no idea that everybody leaves before the game, including yourself. So I was down there by myself. So I just got in my rental car and drove home. I drove all the way to Virginia from Mobile. I was like, screw this. I had like 2.5 more days by myself.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. It was like 2 days until the game. I was like, no way, man. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So we both did some driving.
Next year, I'm staying for the game because I think my wife and the kids are going to fly down Thursday night when all the hoopla is done. They're going to come in Thursday night. We're going to spend Friday in Mobile, go down to Mardi Gras, and then Saturday to the game. So next year, I am staying for the game.
Yeah, that sounds nice. See, that's a good time right there. Planning it right. You know what I mean? So so good stuff, everybody. Dom's looking good with his daughter's hat on. This one I'll say I did buy it for me, and when I bought it to go to the Black Friday game, now known as the Tim Boyle Hail Mary game. That's the game that I bought this hat for. So I was all excited. First ever Black Friday football, New York Jets. We're gonna go down. We're gonna beat the Dolphins. It's gonna be great. And it was such a turd, and it was freezing. The whole thing, but such is the life of a Jets fan. I see E-Boogie rocking his Stream Beaner emoji packages. Look at E-Boogie. He's on fire tonight.
He's on fire.
So, guys, it's draft season. And as you guys know, the Jets have the 7th overall draft pick. So we're excited about that. There are rumors of us trading up. Dude, Dom C had, I'm going to put this up. Dom C had one of the best Twitter posts of the year. I think that was today. I think it was today. Oh, yeah. All right. So
I have a lot of Twitter posts, man. So it might not be.
So Dom C, if you haven't followed Dom on Twitter yet, you really have to. So this is what I'm going to find this. Man, you got a lot of posts. Let's see here. It was the one about all the rumors with the Jets. Hold on. It was so good.
It was yesterday, I believe.
That was yesterday. Okay, so a little bit back. There's the Shador Sanders hate. Let me see. Where is it? Come on. All right, here it is. You ready, guys? So this is a Dom C tweet from today, or from yesterday, I'm sorry. Again, this is the kind of stuff you get to see with Dom C. So, and this points out, the utter ridiculousness of our draft season fandom. So today, I see posted. Now, here's the posts. 1, the Jets are extremely interested in signing Justin Fields to a $10 to $15 million a year contract. And we hear that there's mutual interest. So get your panties all bunched up about that. Number 2, the Jets have inquired with Tennessee about moving to number 1 overall. Then number 3, the Jets are expected to be the top suitor for Kirk Cousins. Dude, does that not paint out the draft season perfectly, everybody? Like, Dom, you just nailed it, buddy. Like, that's the kind of thing. And you put here, friendly reminder, it's smoke season, and that aggregator accounts are live. Everything is clickbait, my friends. Everything. Yep. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not some truth to this or that. But getting all bent out of shape is definitely not the order of the day.
Well, and as Jets fans, we love to take something and just run with it. I mean, how many times do you hear, so on and so forth has been released, and 14,000 people be like, oh, he's a Jet, we should sign him. Go him. And each one of these have probably sprung. Each one of these points on this tweet have probably sprung at least, 40 to 50 people, losing their mind or getting, like salivating at the mouth. So it depends which one you want. You know what I mean? But number 2 is the interesting one, GreenBean. And I'm going to say this. I don't necessarily think that the Jets are going to move up to number 1. I don't. What I will say is I think any team within striking distance is probably making that call. You have to test the waters, right? Because what if they said, oh, you know what? We don't, fuck number 1. We want Michael Clemens,
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to see or just gauge the temperature, if you will. So, but I did just post something else, while I was waiting for you. I thought it was very interesting. Todd McShay. I love Todd McShay. His podcast is one of my favorites. I never miss it. And he said on his podcast that came out today, and he's obviously tied in a lot more than me or you, surprisingly.
You think?
Yeah,
I'm not
just a little
so
bit.
sure.
But he said that he's hearing two things. One, that Cleveland for sure is not taking quarterback at number 2. Too many holes. I'm assuming they're he's assuming they're gonna probably move on from the defensive end. Why can't I think of his name?
Myles Garrett.
Yeah. So it makes sense. They're starting a rebuild, a real rebuild. They'll be free of Deshaun Watson after next year, I believe, or for next year. And then he also said that the word in the street, the vibe is that Tennessee is going to pass on a quarterback as well.
Wow. So who would they pick? So you got, if Tennessee's passing, complete your thought, and then I'll dig, and then I'll assault you with my new questions that just popped into my brain.
What I'm thinking is, and I don't have any opinion on that. Like, that's fine. I don't know if the Jets still come into play with either of those situations. Because I just don't think that I see the Jets moving up to 1 or 2. The price is going to be too rich for not a sure thing.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. But I think you can go two ways. Like I said, the way to think about it would be, hey, listen, maybe there's an opportunity that we could go up there and get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders or get our quarterback because Aaron Rodgers is gone, so on and so forth. And then the other half of my brain says, well, Tennessee and Cleveland really do need quarterbacks, and they're willing to pass on it. So what the fuck is wrong with these guys? Right.
And you got Borgonzi down there in Tennessee, and he comes from pretty good stock, right? Yeah. And if it's a guy, look, he could turn out to be a complete ball of turds. We don't know, but you'd like to believe, right, at least where it stands right now, if he doesn't want him, there's something there. The Chiefs kind of know what they're looking at. He's definitely learned, he's been there. He's been under numerous GMs. They've had great success, picking some of the best players in the entire NFL over his tenure there. So if he's saying, I don't want Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, that's a flag. And then if they get to Cleveland, who need, Deshaun Watson, I mean, it's not working. Can we say that? It hasn't worked out just the way they hoped just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that would push both quarterbacks to number 3.
Where the Giants would probably take one, but
I think the Giants would take
one. The Patriots aren't going to take one, and no, the Patriots aren't going to trade with us. But if we went to 5, I think that's fair striking distance. Going from 7 to 5 is a lot better than going from 7 to 1.
Well, let's see what we need to do, at least as far as the chart goes. The Jimmy Johnson chart would say that it's only a 200-point differential, which is a mid-third. So you could theoretically throw your third at him. Well, our third, it's a little higher than our third's worth 132. But you could throw you'd have to throw your third and fourth at him. That would be right around the goal. Third and fourth round picks. Would you do that? Would you use this year's third and fourth to get a shot at Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward?
I would think really long and hard of it. I will say this. I like both quarterbacks. I do. I don't think that either quarterback I'm not ready to pin either quarterback with that franchise quarterback tag. You know what I mean? So for me, if I'm trading up, I want to make sure that I'm getting, there's a good chance that I get my guy. Whether he works out, that's obviously a different story. But I think that there's a lot of holes that you can poke in both prospects. I don't think that either of them can't miss. So right now, gun to my head, I'd probably say no.
Yeah. I'm not doing it either.
I'm sorry. It's just because for a couple reasons. We there's so many holes on this roster, and I'm not saying that, guys. I'm not a Jets hater. I'm probably one of the more positive, Jets fans around. Like I always, I'll always find the sunshine and rainbow and things. I try to be a little bit optimistic, but I'm also realistic. And I'm not saying this is a total rebuild, but there's a lot of work to do on this roster. It's not a rookie quarterback away. I mean, forget it. Forget about the wide receiver core. Forget about the tight end room. Both barren, outside of obviously outside of Garrett Wilson. Both of them are barren. Forget about the starting right tackle and the offensive line depth. And then you talk about the defense. It's in shambles right now when you talk about players and so on and so forth. So I just don't know if this team is a possible Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward away. So that's why I would not trade up.
Well, what I will say is this. I happen to agree with you. There's enough holes that, especially with third and fourth round picks, because that's where if you are worth a damn at all as a general manager, the third and fourth round, you should be able to get contributors at positions such as offensive line, tight end, defensive line, potentially safety, or running back if you needed one. You can do a lot of damage in the third and fourth round if you know what the hell you're doing, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to be. As a matter of fact, I'm of the school of thought that the first 2 days of the draft are for starters, unless you're a stacked team and, you're obviously, looking to develop and that sort of thing. You're already a Super Bowl roster or something like that. Like the Eagles can absolutely use their third and fourth round picks on guys that aren't going to play, and just kind of have them developing on the team. But you need to get starters in the first 2 days of the draft, in my opinion. And if you can't, something's wrong with you. Something's going wrong, right? If you can't, you don't have to do every one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, well, I think a little bit differently. I think that especially the first and second day, rounds 1, 2, and 3, you need to get starters that will be starters in, maybe right away, maybe plug and play, but at least in 2 years. By year 3, those guys should be active, relative producing members of your starting team. Like that's, you to say that you're drafting to plug starters right away, I think is a faulty model. I think you draft.
I hear you. No, I'm with you, but I just again, let's say you got a third round pick and maybe he's not the full-time starter. Maybe he's, your your cornerback 3 and he's playing in every nickel and every dime packet, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Or he's like, I don't know. They have to be contributors. First and second round, I want starters, dude, and I can get them every year. When I look at the guys that I want to draft every year, 90% of them are starters in the NFL. So I know how to do it, and I fucking stand on that mountain. But I don't disagree with you 100%. But point being, giving up our third and fourth round pick for a quarterback, I don't want to do it this year. That said, we do have 4/5 of the offensive line. Right. And if you sign a vet like a mid-range average, just solid starter at right tackle for a year, you could be getting a quarterback to come in. He's got Garrett Wilson. He's got Breece Hall. He's got Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. You got Malachi Corley, a third-round pick last year. Again, we don't know what he is, but he's here. And you can use your second-round pick on a wide receiver that's likely to be a solid contributor. He doesn't have to be, wide receiver 1 or anything like that. So it's not the worst. And again, there's tight ends to be had, or just re-sign Conklin or whatever it is. It's not the same situation as we brought Zach in or we brought Sam in. This offense, a couple pieces, and you have enough that you're not like giving him that sacrificial lamb year. You know what I mean? Like when you're just like, dude, hey, listen, this year's about taking your lumps and toughening your skin, kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't have to be that. That said, I think we're both landing on the same conclusion here. I'd rather not see. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say they slide to 7. one or both. Like they slide to 7.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders take Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, New England doesn't want one. The Giants go out and they get, who knows? They make some moves,
Yeah. Listen, at 7, different story. 7, I think it's in the conversation for sure. I just don't know. And this is not me like playing Madden or anything like that. But to me, I just don't know if this is the year to spend more assets to go up to get a guy that, is okay. There's no, there's no Daniels, there's no Williams, there's those guys aren't, there's no May. Those guys aren't in this draft. Again, McShay, a guy I like. Daniel Jeremiah, another one that everyone knows, Jeremiah has Cam Ward graded exactly. He had the same exact grade as Bo Nix.
Mom or mom?
Nope.
Wait, hold on. Let me. Mom's calling me. Let me just. Let me say. Hey, Mom, I'm actually live right now. Is everything okay?
Oh, sorry. No, I was to tell you about Uncle Ronnie, but call me. Can you call me tomorrow?
Yeah, I can call you in the morning. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. I love you. I'll talk to you in the morning. Bye.
I hope Uncle Ronnie's okay.
Me too. That's unnerving. I want to tell you that's all my, my mom and her brothers, like they're older now. They're all in their, mid to late 70s. And it's like,
yeah, it's time.
It's time to
when
worry
you get
about
those phone calls. Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I mean? You start to worry. Yeah. But,
Well, let me do this, Tom, real quick. So let me, guys, before I see a couple super chats where we're going to get to, and we have our headline story that we want to get into as well. Bill Belichick is out there talking shit about the Jets some more. Dom, you want to talk about resentment, right? Like whatever, I don't know what it is. We never did anything to him other than Mangini busting Spygate wide open. But I think you can safely say Belichick got really the last laugh, even though we beat him in his last game as the Patriots coach. Small potatoes. You can safely say Belichick won the battle between the Jets and Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Why is he so bitter? I just don't understand. But before we get into that, guys, I want to remind you, we are coming to the end of this offer. It almost seems like it's going to be perpetual, but there is an end to all things, guys. This too shall pass. We are at the end of this amazing offer from the one and only BetUS, a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, everybody. All you have to do is use the promo code YouTube150 when you're signing up for the platform. And this is the greatest thing about it. Yes, 150% bonus on $2,000 is amazing, but it also gets you a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. They are America's favorite sports book for reasons just like this, but even better than that, the platform has everything that you need: prop bets, money lines, and you can do it on every single thing you can imagine. Again, it's not just NFL. Major League Baseball starting. You got the NBA, you got hockey, you got politics. There are lines on political stuff. You can watch darts and swimming and water polo, Dom. It's all on BetUS, and this offer is, quite frankly, unbeatable. A 150% bonus on that first deposit up to $2,000. Use that promo code YouTube150 and take advantage of this great offer while it's still out there. And we thank BetUS. Dude, they've been with us since July, all season, Dom. From July to the whole entire season, BetUS has been hanging out with us. Sorry, Saps, Jets fans. So take advantage of the offer, everybody. Thank you to BetUS. So, Dom, did you have another point on like the trade up thing? I want to get to some of the chat and say hi.
If I did, I already forgot it. So
right, I know. There's no chance. There's no chance. Whatever the hell's thought I had, there's no chance I'm gonna remember that. Swamp Ranger checking in first tonight. Thank you, buddy. He says, if we're reaching at 7, draft Membo from Mizzou. Fucking, it's so I don't know. Anyway, solidify your tackles for the next decade. Screw the developmental shit. I don't care who the O-line coach is. What do you think of Swamp Ranger? Is he just being too bold for your tastes, or what's going on, Don? Making
I
sense?
love Swamp Ranger, one of my favorite guys that's in the chat all the time. But I got to tell you, no shade on Membo. He's a nice player. But I couldn't disagree with this any more than I do. I don't think, I don't want, I am adamant. That's the only thing that would get me upset come draft day. Is that we're on the board and we take another offensive lineman at 7. Yes, it's a hole. I know we don't have a right tackle, this or that, but like this is not the class to do it. That's what I'm saying. This is not the class to do it.
Dude, I just wiped my nose with the tissue and there was a fucking thumbtack in it.
Oh,
Like I had a thumbtack on the table. I must have picked it up. Dude, I just fucking stabbed myself, Dom. Blow my nose. Dude, that's terrible. Like, who does fucking like what is that?
Oh man.
Anyway, yeah. So now Swamp Ranger, as I look around, he's in everybody's top 5 offensive tackle, ratings for the most part, I would say. But that doesn't mean like we've talked about. It's interesting. Last year was the year to get a tackle, and this is what you look. And just like the Bowers boys, right? Nobody said. I don't think there was anybody out there that said, myself included. I said Brock Bowers sucks. He's not worth the pick. Blah blah blah. You said when you were anti taking a guy like Bowers, it was because we needed a left tackle, and this was the year to get one, right? Because of what? We talk about it all the time. The strength of the draft. Gunny, I see you here, but your screen's blacked out, so I don't want to throw you on. So if you're there, that's why I don't have you up. Gunny's entered the building, but he's in the dressing room, everybody. He's getting primped. So like last year, there were, 8 tackles? 8 offensive tackles taken in the first round. You never see that. I mean, it has to be a record, no? I mean, how many? I've seen 3.
I think it was a record on offensive linemen that were taken in the first round. I think there was 11 because you had guys like, oh my God, who was the guy? He went to Tampa Bay from Duke. He was a tackle, played inside.
Yeah,
anyway, it doesn't matter.
But it's like a point I want to make. So, like last year, there were. Let's just do it. Let me see here. So let's do it together real quick.
While you're looking that up, I will say, and Membo's not my number 1 tackle in the class. He's up there. He's right there. He's 4. I got I got like an early second round grade on him. But even if he was your favorite tackle in the class, he'd probably be, if you combine last year's tackle class.
Well, that's what I want to do. So don't. That's exactly what I'm doing. So right here. So it started with Joe Alt at pick 5. Then it went J.C. Latham at pick 7. And then, as we know, the Jets came in at pick 11 with Fashanu. Then there was Fuaga. So that's number 4. Then you got Amarius Mims, number 5. Troy Fatanu, number 6. Jordan Morgan, number 7. And then you had you have a center here.
Yeah. That's what I was
let's do. So we have 7 tackles. Tyler Guyton, 8 tackles. So there were 8 tackles.
No, there's more. Keep going.
No, that's the end of the first.
Oh, there you're in the second. Okay.
Yeah, that's the end of the first round.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, Pearsall and Leggett, they were I thought I was tickled when Pearsall got picked. I thought he was going to be a mid-second, even though I loved him. I thought he could be. Yeah. Anyway, the draft is so fun. Anyway, where does a guy like Membo come in?
Well, I'll tell you.
Rate?
My number 1 rated tackle in the class is Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon. True left tackle, 6'4.5", 315 pounds, long arms, athletic, so on and so forth. He'd probably be grade-wise. He came in for me under Mims. So that's where he would fall.
So Mims being, what was that? 1, 2, 3. Whoops. So Mims was 4. He was tackle 5. So you're talking me, you said right after him?
Tackle 6, wasn't he?
1, 2, 3. No, 5.
Okay. Yeah.
So 3. 4, 5. Yeah. So Mims was the 5th tackle take, as you said. You have him right after him.
Correct.
So think about it, Swamp Ranger. We're at pick 7, and you would take the 6th rated tackle from last year's draft. You see what I mean? So that's one of those things where it's not to say that these guys won't be good players, right? Correct. You can get a great player in round 7. We all know that. But it's like when you're talking about prospect and the value and the ratings and all that, you need, with pick 7, you need to come away with a guy who's as close to blue chip potential as you can. That's what you got to do. So you can't force it. We call it squeezing a square peg in a round hole. You don't want to force that. And that's what Jets regimes of the past were famous for doing, what we call reaching, Dom. Mm-hmm. They reach.
Jeff Lageman.
Brian Thomas. So again, nice player. I don't think he made a single Pro Bowl, Brian Thomas. He played for us for 11 years.
Mo
nice
Lewis.
Player.
No, I'm kidding. I was kidding. I said Mo Lewis. That was the joke.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I fucking dude. I want to talk about a fucking outperforming third round pick.
I was teasing. You actually got very serious right there. Green.
Yes. I'm like, wait. E-Boogie checking in, our good buddy. Derek Carr, Dom C, top ball. All right. So, and he asked another question. So this is a 2-part question. Okay. What are your thoughts on maybe the Jets just going out there, not using any draft capital, saying, you know what we're going to do? We're going to settle this thing down. We're going to get an intelligent, well-established quarterback, maybe not Patrick Mahomes, but we think we can win with Derek Carr, and we're going to use our picks to support the living hell out of our quarterback, best offensive line we can, best wide receiving core we can, and all that jazz. You into Derek Carr?
If Derek Carr were to get cut, I'm absolutely in for him.
Because he could sign for like $2 million, Dom.
Exactly. Well, and that is what I think the enticing part of Kirk Cousins is, not the lack of mobility or any of that stuff, But if this is truly going to be a bridge year, you're spending $6.5 million on Tyrod Taylor. If you can bring in another guy and have 2 veteran quarterbacks for under $10 million, like, sign me up. Pittsburgh last year, Russell signed for $2 million. Justin Fields signed he was traded in the last year of his deal. So that was 8 point something. Now they had their quarterback rooms locked for $10 million. You can't beat it. Can't beat it. So if he's cut, Derek Carr for the short term, 1 to 2 years, goes right to the top of my ladder. But I'm not trading for that contract. Not doing it.
Agreed. So he was asking too, who's your top ball hawking safety in this draft?
Well, I think everyone's favorite ball hawking safety is Xavier Watts. He happens to be the guy at the top, not the top of my board, but that fits that kind of moniker of ball hawk. But I really like the kid out of Texas, Andrew Makuba. He turns the ball over. He's a little bit more versatile. Like Watts is a true free safety, center field type, plays downhill, not gonna be up in the box, not gonna really affect the run, at the point of attack too much, but you want a guy that turns the ball over, that can roam around center field, rangy and stuff like that. That's Watts. My whole thing with Xavier Watts is he's very reminiscent to me in run defense of Ashton Davis. The guy had a 19% missed tackle rate last year. You watch him take angles that are just bad. But, he can affect the game because he intercepts the ball. I think he's got 15 interceptions in his career. Makuba is the guy I like. He's a little bit more versatile. He can do a little bit of everything, and he turns the ball over. So I like both of those guys as ball hawks.
Yeah, it's interesting. I really it depends on where you get a guy like that, right? And you can teach guys, don't forget, they're coming in, they have to have a certain level of certain acumen to them, but hopefully you can develop these guys. You got to know how to fix certain things. But the thing is, I'm tired of players over the course. Like we got players that are really great at a thing, but then they suck at the other thing. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like feast or famine. I just want a guy that can play fucking football, Dom. Like he's a good tackler and he can catch the ball. Like imagine that.
Imagine that, man.
You know what I mean? It doesn't seem so hard to do. Let's see. I saw my buddy Crossfire checking in. Says, I'm with Alan. Kicker in the first. Well, it's been done.
We've taken a kicker in the second, right?
We did it. Yeah. So you got the Raiders took Sebastian Janikowski in the first, which is fucking crazy.
Seabass was the best, though. I mean,
oh, yeah. Well, when you do something like that, like the Jets famously took Mike Nugent in the second round.
Yes.
And we didn't have a first that year. So essentially, that's our first pick. So we entered the draft and said, we are so good. Our team is so tight. If we have a kicker, we're winning it all. Now, in fairness, that was the year after Doug Bryan missed 2 field goals in the divisional playoff round against the Steelers. So I do get it, but come on. You know what I mean? So, I Crossfire and Allen can pound salt, as my mother would say. I'm not into it, but I do want a kicker in the draft. I say, dude, stop dancing around. Kicker is vitally important. They have an impact in every single game, even if it's just extra points. Like every game, a kicker has an impact. Why do we treat it as if it's like, it's a depth piece. It's like a third linebacker, fourth linebacker. Like, why do we treat it like that? I don't understand. I don't understand. Get the best one you can and keep him here for 25 years like the Ravens did with Cundiff and Tuck. Dude, the Ravens have had 2 kickers like the last 28 years, something like that's crazy. And here we are. You know what I mean? There's something to it. Alan Dodes checking in with his Stream Beaner super chat. Thank you guys so much for being Stream Beaners. No one cares what college coach says about the Jets. What a college coach says. I want to trade back for assets to help trade up for the quarterback next year if possible. So, all right, so what Alan's talking about, let me get you guys to the story. So if you haven't heard about this, Bill Belichick, who is now the coach of the University of North Carolina, everybody, he's out of the NFL. Who would have ever thunk it, huh, Dom? Who would have thunk Bill Belichick would play the Jets in the snow, get his ass kicked? Breece Hall ran for 160 yards or whatever it was that game. And then Saleh, because they can't count, we were 6 yards away from 1,000. And they let the clock run out because they thought he had it. It's so Jets. But who would have thought that would be it? He sits on the couch for a year. He's on McAfee, whatever. And then he can't get a job in the NFL and he goes to the college ranks. Well, Bill Belichick was asked, Dom.
I'm listening.
So here it is. Let me see. How can NFL teams, so they said, hey, how can an NFL team identify a veteran quarterback actually capable of resurrecting their careers? How do you find that quarterback, he was asked. And this was his answer. You might take a look at the ones the Jets have released. Because Geno Smith and Sam Darnold, they've done pretty well out there. He said Geno's a great example. Sam Darnold's an example. And then he softened and threw in Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield. But the first thing, you got to just look at who the Jets are cutting, which would lead you to maybe Zach Wilson's out there. Maybe this year, Aaron Rodgers. We can't figure it out. It doesn't matter who it is. You got the 3rd overall pick, get rid of him and take one higher. 2nd overall pick, get rid of him and get a Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer throws for 3,900 yards. Get that fucking bum out of here. Let's go trade up to the first pick, whatever it is. Let's get Justin Fields. It doesn't matter. So what do you think of that? His first answer is right to the Jets. Go fucking grab whoever the Jets are releasing. Just because they sucked with the Jets doesn't mean they suck, because the Jets are the ones who suck, Tom. How'd you take that?
Yeah, I didn't take it any specific way. I will say this, let's call a spade here, right? How long did it take for Geno to figure it out? How many teams was he on a backup for, right? He was with the Chargers. He was with the Giants. I'm probably missing somewhere along the line.
I'm going to tell you right now, Dom.
Okay.
Here we go. So the Geno Smith, here it is. The Geno Smith track record, Dom. Here we go. Ready? We'll go to Pro Football Reference, my personal favorite. So here we go. He was on the Jets for 4 years. Remember, he got his jaw broken in 2015. That team was built for him, by the way. Don't forget that. Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, Chris Ivory. We had them all. He gets his jaw broken, and he's here for 1 more year. And then he goes to the Giants for a year, goes over there. Ben McAdoo, I think it was, decides to bench Eli and put Geno in. The Giants ownership and GM fired both of them. Got rid of Geno Smith and McAdoo. They're like, this coach really put you. Get out of here. He goes to the now Los Angeles Chargers. They were the San Diego Chargers at the time. And then he sat on the bench in Seattle for 2 more years. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was his 9th year in the NFL that he got that starting job with Seattle after they traded Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. Mm-hmm. And the last 3 years, he's been Geno Smith that we now know.
Yeah. And now do Sam Darnold, right? He was with us, 5 years? 4?
4. So, no, 3, really. Right. Sam Darnold, 3 years with us, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 3 years with the Jets. Mm-hmm. 2 years with Carolina. And then 1 year with the Niners. And then, so it's 1 year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, year 7. So you got year 7 and you got year 9 that these guys finally kind of pieced it together. Now, both of them sat for an extent. Sam was only really 1 year, but he sat. They had an opportunity to sit and be a backup, organize, push reboot, so to speak, reboot the computer, and then have another shot at it. And don't forget, Sam was signed in Minnesota to back up McCarthy. He wasn't signed to be the starter. They took, he was the 12th or the 10th overall pick.
Yeah.
The Vikings traded up and got him.
And he would have been the backup. Like their intention, I know that they said, whether or not he would have started game 1 or started the beginning of the season as the starter, the intention was that for J.J. McCarthy to be handed the reins last year, whether it was in the beginning of the season or at some point similar to what happened with, Brissett and Drake May. So it is what it is. I guess he's right. We should have just sat and kept paying Geno Smith for 8 more years, because the 9th one was the one where he was going to figure it out.
Right. You know what I mean? And don't forget, he was so Pete Carroll had him for 2 years before he gave him the ring. You know what I mean? He sat there behind Russell Wilson for 2 straight years before they gave him the reins. So it's one of those things, man. I think, and this is kind of, look, it goes back. You could say, I think Zach Wilson was the one that it was like, it was done. He was damaged good. Like, it's done, right? Because he had too much starting time and whatever it was. But the idea, we are a very impatient fan base. Like, we are just, and the whole neighborhood's just impatient. Like, we're very intense. And you gotta have a special mentality to kind of be here and weather all that. But I think the Jets, we really don't do the best job of supporting the quarterback, when you look at Mike McCagnon, he drafted Sam Darnold and he was interviewed right after that pick. He said something along the lines of, we are so excited that a guy like Sam Darnold, we never thought we'd get him. The fact he was our QB1, the fact that he slid to our pick and we could get him, we are so excited. Now, he said this, now it's my job to build or to use the rest of the draft to build around him. Does anybody remember what the next pick was? We did not have a second that year because he traded him all away to get Sammy.
I did.
What was the next pick, Dom?
I could be wrong. Was it Foley Fatukasi?
It was not.
It was another. It was the guy from Canada. I don't remember his name. He played at.
You're in the right neighborhood, though.
Grand Forest State. He was a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
26-year-old defensive tackle.
His name was Nathan Shepard.
Nathan Shepard,
who
yes.
Robert Saleh titled the King of Strain, everybody. The King of Strain. So my job is, I can't believe that this quarterback actually slid to us. We are so great. We're so excited. The next pick is a small school, 25-year-old defensive tackle, run stuffer at that. Not even a dynamic, slippery penetrator. Nope. A run stuffer, what many labeled actually a 25-year-old developmental guy at the next, not an offensive lineman, not a fucking tight end, not a wide receiver, not a running back. Something. Get the guy a kicker. Like, get him something to help him out. Nothing. And the rest of that draft. So that was what year was he drafted, Sam Darnold? 2018? 18, right? 2018. I gotta do this.
Yeah, I was pulling it up to see too. Yeah.
Let's look at the NFL. So I gotta see who we took. Okay. Like the draft it's complete garbage. And I remember watching it. Like I was like, oh my God. Okay. We traded 3 seconds. I did like the idea that McCagnon found a way to get up to the third without using another first.
He made the decision early. It didn't happen like draft day.
No, he like it was a few weeks before the draft. And what he did too, don't forget, he traded Sheldon Richardson to the Seahawks, got the wide receiver in what the hell? I always forget his name. God damn it. But anyway, so I can't forget it. I can't remember his name ever. Whenever it comes up, I can't remember it. But so he made the trade. Sheldon Richardson got that second round pick and then used that second round pick and his own second round pick to be able to have the capital to move up without using next year's first. So, you can commend that a little bit, a little bit. But dude, you got to build around the guy. So this is what he did. So here we go. So he takes Sam Darnold with the 3rd overall pick. Now remember, we didn't have a second. So let's get through the second round. So the Jets are up. Here we go. We take Nathan Shepard with the 72 overall pick, which I think, don't we have 72 this year too, I think?
No, we had 72.
Oh, we had it. Yeah. So the Jets go, and to support Sam Darnold, the first thing we can think of is to take a 25-year-old defensive tackle from Fort Hays State, everybody. Okay? It's fucking brilliant. So then, where are we? Then we go over down to pick 107. We take a tight end. Okay, not bad. We take a tight end in Chris Herndon. We had lots of high hopes. He was supposed to be a 2nd-round pick, all the hubbub right out of Miami and everything. So here we go. So we got a tight end and defensive tackle. Here we go. Let's see what else McCagnon pulled together. Where is it? Come on. Did I pass the Jets already, Dom?
No, I'm looking. We must not have had a 5th.
Cornerback Parry Nickerson. That ought to help Sam Darnold.
He was in the league for what, a week and a half? I say that.
Yeah. He was on our depth. He was like practice squad, and he made it to our roster for a while. But he's 53. But he was garbage.
And then there he is.
There he is, 6th-round pick. So we took 2 defensive tackles, a cornerback, and a tight end. So we had 2 picks here. Now, you never know. They'll look right here. Like, get a guard. There's Marcel Harris. But, it's not to say you're going to find, necessarily gold all the time here, but you could take a swing at some offense. Okay, what else we got? I think we have, so there it is.
There.
And then he gets Trenton Cannon in this. So we had 3 6ths. He takes Trenton Cannon. So we got 2 tackles, a cornerback, a 6th-round running back, and a tight end. And let's see what else we got.
Oh, there's Braxton Berrios.
Oh, yeah?
He went in the 7th round there. Yeah.
Let's see what else. Where are we? Come on. We had a 7th. I know we did. Nope, I guess not. So that's what he did for Sam. Now, would you call that a draft where you're building around the quarterback, Dom? Is that a build around the quarterback draft?
You're supporting him. And listen, He changed his ways in the next draft. What, took 2 safeties back to back?
In the next draft, let's see. It's just fucking is hilarious. That's why, again, like, when we're talking about like a guy like Joe Douglas or, you're like, you forget just how bad it can be,
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got to show you guys this too. So, right, the next draft, 2019, we got our young quarterback. He looked good. Remember, he ended his rookie year, played Aaron Rodgers really good. He did really well against the Texans. Like, he looked like we had something here, right?
Yeah, was it Sam's first year? Was it his first game, or was it the
first game he
second
threw
game where Indianapolis, where we won like 38-3?
Well, Sam's first game was against the Detroit Lions on Monday night, and he threw the pick 6 for his first NFL pass.
Yeah, but we ended up winning that game big.
Blew him out. Yeah, it was a great game. Ended up being. So the next year, we got the 3rd overall pick. Now, what many smart fans like myself, what I wanted them to do was trade back. Now, it wasn't the strongest quarterback class, but the Washington Redskins at the time were very interested in Dwayne Haskins, and you could have traded back with them. And what I wanted to do was trade back, even if it's pennies on the dollar, because it's not a strong quarterback class. You get some value, get an extra second and then a second next year, that kind of a thing. And you trade back and you take Garrett Bradbury, a center for the next 10 years, and you help Sam, right? You let him build with his, or you could take Jonah Williams or whatever it was. We take Quinnen Williams, So remember, the draft prior, he took 2 defensive tackles, and he comes out with his 3rd overall pick, and he takes, guess what? A defensive tackle.
Now, you were talking about trading back there, but this was the draft. Stop right there. Like, there was no doubt in my mind that we were taking Josh Allen. Now,
if you were going to stick and stay, that was the pick. We haven't taken an edge rusher in forever. It's always defensive tackles.
Yeah,
with us. So right here we should have taken that. Now Josh Hines Allen, right?
Yeah.
At the time he was just Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But that was the pick if you were going to stay there. Well, look, you could have taken TJ Hawkinson, help Sam. You know what I mean? You could have taken somebody. But I wanted to trade back, take Jonah Williams or Bradbury. Again, if you went back to 15 with the Redskins, you would have had to, you wouldn't have gotten Jonah Williams, but Garrett. But again, look, he starts his draft with a defensive tackle. Remember, we have a 3rd overall pick quarterback, guys. So look, he does that. Where's the Jets? Oh, we didn't have a second this year too because it was in the Sam Darnold trade. So we're still feeling the trade. So now he has his 3rd round pick. What did he do again? He takes Ja'Kai Polite, a guy that most GMs say he showed up to the combine fat, drunk, and smelling like cigarettes. You know what I mean? and everybody was like, they took him off their boards. Ja'Kai Polite. McCagnon goes, oh my God, I had this guy with a 1st round grade before the combine. He's fucking sitting there in the 3rd. I can't pass him up. So he takes yet another defensive player in Ja'Kai Polite. So remember, the previous draft, we get Sam Darnold. We take two defensive tackles, a cornerback, a 6th round running back, and a tight end. This draft, we take a defensive tackle and an outside linebacker in Ja'Kai Polite. Really defensive. If we're playing a 4, he's really going to play the defensive end position.
Yep.
So then we do. So look how we're building around our quarterback. Isn't this nice? You could have got Terry McLaurin. No, not for us. We want Ja'Kai Polite. So then we go. Here we go. Chuma Edoga, the highest pick that McCagnon used on an offensive lineman. So that's good though. You get an offensive tackle. That's nice, right? I applaud that. It wasn't the name I wanted, but I did applaud. This was actually the guy I wanted. I wanted Cajuste, if I remember correctly, in that pick. Look, there's Quincy Williams. There he is.
Yeah.
So then what do we do, Dom? To build around Sammy Boy,
there it
take
is.
another tight end. No
Trevon
wide receivers.
Wesco. Big blocker.
No wide receivers to be had, everybody. Not a single, you know what I mean?
If you look at these drafts, though, like McCagnon and Joe Douglas couldn't be polar opposites, right?
Yeah.
McCagnon took all the, what people deem secondary positions in terms of positional value, right? Safeties, tight ends, you know, defensive tackles, big like one tech defensive tackles, where Joe Douglas didn't spend any draft picks on those guys.
Right.
The only one tech big defensive tackle he took was that when he took Jonathan Marshall in round 7 from Arkansas.
Round 6. Yeah, the last pick of the draft that year.
Yeah.
Because he knows value, at least to some extent. Well, look, then we're in round 5. We take Blake Cashman. Don't forget, Blake Cashman had 2 knee injuries. And this is really good when we get to the end of this. So Blake Cashman was an often injured. He was injured in college. So we took him. We drafted him injured in the 5th round. And then we get to the 6th round. You guys remember who it is?
I don't.
Oh, he was another one injured out of Rutgers.
Oh, yeah.
Blesson Austin.
Yeah.
So this is what we did. 2 straight drafts building around Sam Darnold. We took 3 defensive tackles, 2 cornerbacks, a linebacker, 2 tight ends, and a running back. That's building around our young quarterback. So I don't think. All right, Gunny, I'm going to take you off the screen. It's just, yeah, you can see, right? It's just black. Can we hear you at least?
Nope. I'm going to text him right now.
Yeah, he's saying he'll restart. I feel bad. Gunny's like, he's trying so hard to get in here. But anywho, so if we did a quarterback this year, but you can see like there's an argument to what Bill Belichick is saying. Like, and then you look at Zach Wilson too. He had the 30th, 31st offensive line, 32nd offensive line. Most of the time he was here. Now, look, again, I didn't like Sam. I didn't like Zach as a prospect. So I thought he was just incredibly flawed and untested and all that kind of stuff. But still, you gotta, dude, there's a way to do this, Tom. So with us at the 7th overall pick, in the event we do take a quarterback, let's say Shedeur Sanders is sitting there at 7. Granted, I want Tet McMillan too, but in order for him to be there, Tet would have to be gone. Like all those guys would have to be taken. Obviously, Hunter and Johnson and Carter and all those guys are gone. If a quarterback makes it to 7, the guys that you would want at 7 are likely gone. Mason Grant, like those guys are all gone, right? Likely. But there's an argument to be made because it's not the same scenario. Again, 4/5 of the offensive line is here. Garrett Wilson is here. Malachi Corley, again, untested, but he's here. Breece Hall is here. You could re-sign Conklin. You can go get a wide receiver. You can get, I don't know, whoever it might be. You're with your 2nd round pick. We have a high 2nd round pick. Get a nice wide receiver. Dude, high 2nd round is prime real estate for wide receivers. Every year, great receivers come out in the early 2nd round. So it's not the same situation, is my point. You know what I mean? So Tampa Jets fan checking in. How many winning seasons did Bill have without Brady? Shouldn't he be trashing Duke? Right. That's a great point because Bill Belichick has very few winning seasons. Whether you can add the Cleveland years. I mean, he had 1 winning season in Cleveland, I believe, where he made it to the playoffs and everything. But Bill Belichick without Tom Brady has a losing record. I think you're muted, Dom. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I did. When I was texting Gunny, I muted. Sorry.
Okay.
So saying that, GreenBean, would you say, this is an honest question. I'm not suggesting it. I'm asking a question. Would you say Bill Belichick's overrated as a head coach then?
Yep, absolutely. Now, but what he did, and another testament to him being a head coach, how good he is, look at his tree. His guys go out to be head coaches. I think who's the guy? There's one that's doing well. But generally speaking, like he's part of the Parcells tree, but he's been around. He has his own tree, You look at Romeo Crennel, failure as a head coach. You look at Charlie Weiss, failure as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what's the other defensive coordinator who wears the hats. What the fuck's it? He was Detroit coach. Matt Patricia, failure as a head coach. Judge, failure as a head coach. The only one is really
What about McDaniels? Failure as a head coach.
Josh McDaniels, train wreck as a head coach. And he's back in New England as offensive coordinator under Vrabel. But like, the Flores is really the only guy that you can say is kind of a success, but not, you know, because what his guys try to do is they go and try to be douchebag Magoo like Bill Belichick. They try to do the Patriot way, and it doesn't work without Tom Brady. It doesn't work. You can't go into an organization and be Bill Belichick because, number one, you're not Bill Belichick. So, again, he has a losing record without this one guy, and none of his coaches go out and become successful. None.
Okay, so let's rewind. Let's walk with me here. Is it a Belichick thing? Or like, go back and who are some of the come off of the Parcells tree other than Belichick?
Wait, what? Who
comes off of the Parcells tree? We know Belichick comes off.
Well, Belichick is one, right?
Yeah.
You got Coughlin, Super Bowl winning head coach. He's Parcells tree, right?
Payton, somebody's saying Sean Payton.
Sean Payton is Parcells tree. You know what I mean? Just that'll. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So there you
So
go.
would you consider then? Now walk with me, like I said. Would you consider Aaron Glenn falling off the Parcells tree, even though he didn't coach for Parcells? He was mentored by Parcells.
Well, he played for Parcells twice, right? Here
He was
and in,
mentored by Parcells coming up the ranks as a scout and coach and so on and so forth.
to a degree. I mean, how much is Bill Parcells really, you know, other than like phone calls and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, but so that, yeah, I think he's a Parcellian disciple, but we have yet to see. You know, we don't really know. He's more of a Sean Payton to say he coached under Sean Payton. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so
But
so did Dan. Whatever. his
Dan,
face
yeah,
is.
Campbell.
Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you can call Aaron Glenn like of the Parcells mindset. You know, like he's of that group. But like, look, Parcells has numerous Super Bowl winning head coaches come from his tree. And many guys have made it, not everybody's going to make it, but he's got enough success that you could say, you know, his tree is sound. Just like, you know, well, like Shanahan, you know, like these guys that come from that tree, they've won Super Bowls, you know, whether it's McVay or whoever, even his son, Kyle Shanahan. But like the Belichick tree, the guys who coached under him and went on to be, nobody's made it. I mean, nobody's even mildly successful other than Flores. Like
Yeah, even the kid who took over for Parcells got canned after a year.
For Belichick, you mean?
Or
Yeah,
Belichick,
Mayo.
I mean.
Yeah, Mayo. Yeah, he's Belichick. He 1 year as a head coach and he's done, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, what is the marker of a great head coach? Again, dude, the whole debate was put to bed. Like, and it was an honest debate for years. Is Brady great because Belichick's the greatest head coach of all time? Or is Belichick great because Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time? Well, we got to see it. Tom Brady left, went to Tampa Bay, a team that hadn't been in the playoffs in 10 years or so, went right to the Super Bowl, and then the next year went deep into the playoffs. I think it might have been the championship game. Maybe it was the divisional round. But 2 successful years, Belichick made it to the playoffs, in and out wild card round with Mac Jones, and then losing seasons. I think the debate is over. It's fair enough. One's got a ring without the other one losing record without the other. So, you know, I don't know. Again, losing record and none of his coaches succeed. I say that's a fucking overrated guy. Not to say he doesn't have that he's not good. He's a good, you know, he knows his shit. You know, he can out scheme anybody. You know, he's one of those guys. He's a brilliant mind, but as far as I think he's definitely an overrated coach. Swamp Ranger checking back in says this team needs to be built to win in a slog. Yeah, now you're talking. I love slog winners. I like Swamp Ranger. We need men who can move other men.
Yeah.
Whether at MetLife can be trash, as you know, GreenBean. Muscle trumps brains. See the Super Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. brains are very important. But this is like, look, we're old school Swamp Ranger. How old is Swamp Ranger? You know, how old is he? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know how old you are, Swamp Ranger, but
He uses the word slog, so I'm gonna guess
Yeah.
he's around our age, buddy.
yeah, he's right. He's like, so we're a little old school, you know, and I'm aware of that. You know, I know my old school brain, but I do still maintain while analytics and all that shit very important, and you got to be able like looking deeper, like next gen stats, so to speak. It's very like that shit's very cool, and you can use it. But there are teams that like base everything on it, and you forget that it's football, right? Like I still believe that, just like Swamp Ranger's saying here, if my guy, especially in the trenches, if my guy is bigger and stronger than your guy, by the end of the game, your guy's going to be fucking on his heels and huffing and puffing, and that means I win. That's like it does come down to that. That said, if you're just trying to pound the rock all day up the middle, that's not going to work either. You got to be able to disguise. You got to be able to trick and fool, misdirections. It's like there's a blend that you have to have. But when it comes down to it, I am of the belief football players and tape trumps everything. Like what they're doing on the football field. Oh, and he ran a slow 40. Yeah, but he fucking loses everybody running for touchdowns. They can't catch him on the field. He just doesn't perform well in testing. You know what I mean? But on the field, baby, he's running a 4.1. You know what I mean?
You know what they need? You know what football players need these days? They need the old neck collars, the white foam neck collars,
Right. Like Joe Kelly. Remember Joe Kelly?
If I'm scouting a college player and he's wearing like an old school neck collar, extra roundup. Absolutely. Yeah. That's tough,
Here he is. So let me show you Joe Kelly. Now he's got it under his jersey here, Dom. But remember this guy? Look at his neck.
Yes.
There he is. Joe Kelly. He played with Mo Lewis. Let me see if you get one with the thing sticking out. He had it sticking out sometimes. It's always under his jersey for some reason. Look at it though. See it? It's in there.
I see it.
Yeah. Remember Brian Cox? He had that big ass thing. Where is it? Look at this. See it? Behind his head?
Yep.
Oh my God. These guys were, and look at this, Tom. See that thing?
I love it.
That's what we're talking about. That's a football player. Remember when Romanowski in the championship game, Romanowski was a Denver linebacker. And he was famous for spitting in the face of a cornerback, real dirty player guy. And remember, he did something to Vinny Testaverde. And Brian Cox, he's not even on the field, on the defense, ran out there after Romanowski.
Yeah.
That's what you need, dude. There's an energy, there's a violence, there's a tone that's set by football players. Guys that like cavemen, warriors, like these drama, prima donna fucking, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather have none of them. It's like you look at Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is a wide receiver, the most prima donna laden position in all of football, right? Do you agree?
I agree.
More prima donnas are playing wide receiver than anything else.
Correct.
And you got Garrett Wilson, who will definitely complain, but he's complaining because I'm beating the shit out of this fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like he's the wide receiver version of the guys that I'm talking about. Like he's a football player. I will beat my guy he will do 100 miles an hour, 100% every single play because he's a football player. He's not worried. Dude, how many times we see him get like hurt and he was like, ooh, we're going to lose him. 2 plays, he's back on the field. Get me back out there.
Yeah.
He's playing banged up. You don't give a shit. That's what I want.
I saw something. I was flicking through social media today, and somebody had posted, and I want to know how you feel about this because I don't care one bit. I don't know. I don't understand it all, to be honest with you. But Garrett Wilson has scrubbed all Jets and stopped following the Jets on his.
Who's this?
Garrett Wilson on his Instagram page.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything to you?
Nope. I don't give two shits. Quinnen did it before he got his contract. I mean, who cares? That's the tool that these guys use, like, and don't forget, dude, like there are tools now that they use that I don't relate to because it's not my era. They grew up in it, right? And the agents and everything, it's effective. It sends a message. Like you're not in the facility, you're not talking to anybody. So you make a statement this way. You know what I mean? It works. So whatever. That's a negotiating tool or whatever.
Yeah.
And look, Garrett Wilson might have. Look, if he asks for a trade and he gets traded and everything like that, I'm going to hate him. But you know what I mean? There's no question in my mind. I know how this works for me. You know? But let's be real. He's the best damn wide receiver we've seen here. Look, Brandon Marshall was fantastic, and I know he's kind of adopted the Jets, and that's great, and I'm fine with it. But let's be real. He wasn't a Jets wide receiver for 95% of his career.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Keyshawn was that trade broke my heart like few other trades. I don't think there's
when we dealt him to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And then they put him on the cover of Sports Illustrated wearing red. I couldn't even look at it. Like, that's how sick it made me. That was like 1999. That was the Parcells Jets. Like, I couldn't believe that we had the number 1 overall pick who was just an incredible success for us. And we traded him. Like, I just couldn't believe, it didn't make sense to me. And we ended up getting, I think we got, his pick was John Abraham, maybe. And it ended up being Anthony Becht, I think, or maybe it was Pennington. I forget. We had 4. So we got the Bill Belichick first-round pick. We had our own first-round pick, and then we got 2 first-round picks for Keyshawn. So we had 4 first-round picks, and that's fun and all. But I just couldn't. It broke my heart. But Keyshawn was a Jet, but I don't really even look. I mean, he was with other teams more. Tampa Bay, Dallas. He was there. He was gone more than he was here.
Yeah.
So, but like guys like Al Toon was a Jet, Wesley Walker was a Jet. They were the best wide receivers I'd ever seen. Like Keyshawn was very different than Garrett. I think Garrett Wilson's better.
Corbett was a Jet, even though I will say this, and don't hate me, chat, but I don't think Corbett was the level of Jet as Wesley Walker Al Toon was.
No, but dude, I don't know, man. Corbett was so consistent. He knew how to get open. He caught everything. And let me tell you something. He was 5'10" or whatever he is, 5'9", whatever
5'9",
Corbett is. Dude, that guy was one of the most willing blockers that you'll ever see. That's where all the concussions and shit came from. Dude, he would throw his body around. Like that was the greatest thing. Like Keyshawn and Corbett were famous for not liking each other. Yep. Wait, real quick. Tampa Jets. This is a super chat just for not calling me Tampa Pete. What was that last week here?
No.
Remember I was calling him Tampa Pete? I couldn't shake it. I was like, and Tampa Pete checking in. I don't know what the fuck it was. All right, but that's okay because his middle name's Pete, so it's not so bad. But anyway, Corbett and Keyshawn didn't like each other. Remember, Keyshawn he wrote that book.
Yeah.
After his rookie season, just give me the damn ball. And he ripped Corbett in that book. They hated each other.
And then it was the whole flashlight thing, right?
What's the flashlight thing?
The you don't need one shining star when you have a bunch of flashlights. It'll shine brighter than one shining star, something like that. I remember that was like whoever the coach was. That was like the inspirational speech. Hang on, Wayne. Bet flashlight speech.
Yeah, I don't even remember this. It's crazy. I remember all this weird old shit. I don't remember the flashlight thing.
So here it is. In 2000, Jets teammate Keyshawn Johnson said that comparing Wayne Corbett to him was comparing a flashlight to a star. Corbett responded by catching a touchdown pass against Johnson's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, leading the Jets media to calling him the Green Lantern. And then the coach, who was the coach in 2000? Who was it?
Al Groh.
He said, I'll take 53 flashlights over one star any day.
Great
Yeah.
statement. Yeah, we beat them. We played Tampa Bay that next year,
Yeah.
and I wanted to win that game like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I remember where I watched it and everything. I was at Bobby Congleton's house. He's a cop up in northwest New Jersey. I was with 2 police officers, and I was drinking codeine. I was drinking cough syrup with codeine and slamming whiskey and beers. And I was screaming at that TV, dude, sipping codeine, fucking cough syrup. Oh my God, that was a great game. But good times, Dom. But when you look at Corbett is, I mean, look, he's one of the greatest wide receivers that we've ever had. Like, period. Corbett, unspectacularly one of the greatest, but I don't think you can honestly say that Corbett is on Garrett Wilson's level. Like if Wilson,
level, no.
If Garrett Wilson had Vinny Testaverde in his Jets years and Chad Pennington, the most accurate quarterback in the fucking NFL, that's what he was. He was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Garrett Wilson would have 1,500 yards with 10 plus touchdowns every year. Like, there's no question in my mind. So don't forget, Garrett Wilson, he's 9 quarterbacks and the whole thing. So I just think he can definitely be one of the best. Like, we need to lock that guy up. So Swamp Ranger's saying, I missed your super chat. I hope you're not talking about this one that I read, buddy. Maybe you put that before I read it.
Yeah,
this one?
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think you did. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I made you even have to feel that way. I don't want to elicit negative feelings. Let's try to see if we can hear Gunny. Gunny, are you there?
He's muted.
Muted.
Yeah, his
I
shit.
unmuted him. Gunny, you there? Oh no, he's mute. Now he's muted for sure. We'll leave you on, Gunny. I mean, I don't know if we can hear you. If I hear anything going on in the background,
it's on his end, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. But I don't know, like, can you, because like you're there, Gunny. You can hear us, right? Can you hear us? Yeah. Can speak into your mic. Right now it says that you're muted. So go ahead and unmute the mic. He says, I hear y'all. I hear you guys. Poor Gunny, man.
Well, it was nice seeing you.
Well,
the
nice being in your presence, right? I forgot to end the poll. Let's see what rumor that these guys chose. Now, it's not to say that you want any of them. I'm just saying, which one do you like the best? That's all I'm saying from Dom C's list earlier. So we got 148 votes, Dom. The Jets signing Fields was the best rumor. 62% of the 148 chose that one.
Wow.
Jets trading to number 1 overall had 27%, and 9% said, let's go get Kirk Cousins. And I put in their trade, but if he's cut and released, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Small potatoes. But so we got Fields, Cam Ward, or Sanders, depending. And Cousins, 62% said, I'd rather the Fields rumor be the true one, which is interesting. So
does Fields excite you, GreenBean?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I don't have any like notions. I wouldn't say that I really think that, like, look, maybe if he was going to the Ravens, maybe if he was going to, one of these, the Niners, like, I don't know what we are here. I don't know what Tanner Angstrand is. Our track record isn't very good to have like what we call a revitalization of your career. We're not known for that. I mean, we just fucking killed Aaron Rodgers' career. So, I mean, Justin Fields. But I think, like, in this kind of transition year where we got a lot of holes to fill and all that kind of shit, I think, heading into the 2026 draft where you can really do something about quarterback, I think it's an interesting one. He's 25 years old. He's steadily, incrementally gotten a little better every year. He won 4 games last year. T goes, we'll pound the table. It's only the defense. But he played efficiently. That's the thing. You look at his completion percentage. He had a 78%, 65, 68. Like, so he was playing unspectacular football. He's playing Mark Sanchez ball. He wasn't losing.
Rodgers?
What? No. Justin Fields. In the 4 wins last year, like, he didn't do anything all that great, but he played efficiently, smart, which is kind of, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns. So he can he can come here and bring something that we haven't seen. So like I say, sign him for 2 years. You get him here. You let him, you let him start, or you make him beat out Tyrod Taylor. I think he can, beat out Tyrod Taylor. You start the season. If he's great, if you catch lightning in a bottle, fantastic. If you don't, then he's our backup next year. You could do a lot worse than Justin Fields as your number 2. You know what I mean? So like that, I think it's a smart move. If you're going to go get Derek Carr for $2 million, just bring him over here for a couple years. I'm a fan of that too. Like he got hurt last year. He was playing pretty well, but before he got hurt. So, and and every year before that, he's a 4,000-yard quarterback. So I'm like, hey, bring him over here. He's still not old. So I like that idea. But the idea of Justin Fields, again, would I be screaming Super Bowl? Probably not. But again, there's a risk reward with Justin Fields I think is appropriate. Again, and if all he ends up being is your backup, fuck it. You can do worse. That's what I'm saying. But not for $15 million a year. You're going to sign him for 2 years, $15 million each, for $30 million. Maybe not. You know what I mean?
Listen, I'm not suggesting that they do that, but that is, I think, what's the guy in Cleveland? Jameis Winston. I think he was the highest paid, like straight up backup last year, and he was paid $12 million.
Who's that?
So, Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
So 15 for a backup in 2025 might not be crazy. Sounds it, but
yeah. But
get paid 60.
And the thing is, like, if you need him to come in for a game or two, like, you feel pretty good. You know what I mean? Because he played NFL football. He's won some games. So, like, you feel like, okay. And he's still young. So you can develop. So I don't know. I think there's a big sack of pros that come with a guy like Justin Fields that maybe some of the other options don't. Jameis Winston, I gotta say, like, I just like Jameis Winston. I like that guy. I think he's a fucking barrel of laughs. I think he's exciting, but dude, he doesn't win.
I'm not suggesting him on the team. I was just saying, I think he was the highest paid backup last year.
No, I wasn't pointing that. I'm just talking about like options for us. Like, because some people we're exploring all the shit that we do. And I think Jameis Winston's another option, but it's like, and he'd be exciting. And, I think the great thing about, bringing on a guy like Jameis Winston is gone are the days of like, 2 field goals in a game. Like, it's going to at least be exciting. It's not going to be like, that dead air offense that you watch 9-hour games. You know what I mean?
Winston would make it exciting. Again, not that I'm suggesting him as a Jet, guys, but he'll make it exciting. He's going to throw. He can still spin it. He can throw the ball. You just don't know which team it's going to at times. You know what I mean? He could throw for, 380 and 4 touchdowns. In the next game, he could throw for, 100.
Right. Gunny.
We got your voice, Gun.
Whoa.
Gunny, we hear you.
Oh, hello. Hello, world. The Jets world. What the crap? All
Poor
right,
Gunny, man.
It's got to be my USB-C ports, because I swapped out the USB-C ports trying to go ahead and get some kind of, but nothing's running. The camera's on, everything, but it's not actually registering. But on Bluetooth, my AirPods allowed the microphone to work. So, hi guys.
Hey, Gunny. We're doing all right, and I'm just I feel sad. Like I'd love to. Oh, excuse me. I'd love to have your beautiful face on the screen with us. But hey, hearing you is not so bad. It's like it's like you're a radio guest, like you're a call-in. You know what I mean?
There it is. It's a call-in guest for the night. We'll go with that.
So here we go, Gunny, and I'll let you start. Ron has a question for us. Ron Weiss. Can you see us? Like, can you see the show, or are you completely?
I see everything. I can see you guys.
I gotta take a bio.
I see the black square.
Go ahead.
Which is weird because my camera is on, showing my face and whatnot, but I can't see me on you guys. So it's definitely my USB-C ports.
Yeah, it's weird. But Ron Weiss checking in, Gunny. He says, guys, can we trade Hall for a 3rd rounder? We need to fill more picks in the middle round. So number one, Gunny, you think we can trade Hall for a 3rd? And then I'd love to hear if you would trade Hall for a 3rd.
Well, the first part, can we trade him for a third rounder? I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I think that in terms of what he's done, 1 out of 3 years, you know what I'm saying, he was one of the top candidates in terms of all-purpose yards. We love Breece Hall because we're Jets fans. We've been watching him from beginning to end. We know what he's capable of. We've seen him win us a couple of games. I don't know if the NFL per se looks at Breece Hall as being an elite running back. When you look at his rushing numbers, it's okay. His all-purpose yards have been great. Now, we know a good portion of that is based primarily off of the fact that we haven't had an offensive line. We haven't had really good quarterback play. And he's faced the most stacked boxes of all running backs in the NFL 2 out of the last 3 years. We get that. But again, it's a running back position. It's not as valuable as it once was. Somebody's looking at this draft class right now and thinking to themselves, we can find our Breece Hall in the 3rd or the 4th round.
Yep.
I don't know if the value is there in terms of a GM thinking to themselves, yeah, let's give up assets on a guy with 1 year left on his contract that we're going to probably have to pay, or I can use my 3rd rounder and pick up a running back in this particular draft that maybe gives me the same kind of output, because the output he's put out there really hasn't been like out of this world in terms of his play. Not his fault. I think his talent is significantly higher than what we've seen. But again, he's faced stacked boxes. He's had no help on the quarterback wise. And he's struggled to go ahead and really showcase his skill set when he is the primary offensive playmaker. So even if he was, let's say that he was the guy and like everybody knew he was a stud and he was worth that 3rd rounder, I wouldn't trade him. Listen, we're in the realms of a retooling. I don't call it a rebuild. I feel like it's more of a retooling. And in that retooling, we're looking to get our quarterback of the future, if not this year, which I hope it's not this year. Next season, we trade, the farm, and we go ahead and get one of the top quarterback prospects coming out. Next year's draft is filled with potential guys who could literally fill the role of franchise quarterback. You want that freaking franchise quarterback or that quarterback to have an easy handoff to a running back, an easy freaking, check down to a Garrett Wilson. You want to make their life as easy as possible, and I think you keep your weapons around. A guy like Breece Hall, we, again, have not seen the ceiling of what he brings to the table. I think having him on board, probably for the cheap, because of the fact that because of us, we haven't seen the ceiling of what he brings to the table, will go a long way to helping and developing that quarterback. I don't trade him. I don't trade Breece Hall. I don't trade Garrett Wilson. These 2 individuals are foundational pieces in my mind and are only going to help the quarterback we draft next season develop faster and make their lives a little bit easier with what they bring to the table as weapons.
Yeah. No, you know what, Gunny, I actually agree with you. And Ron, here's the thing. Like, I get it. Like that we have a bunch of holes to fill. We want to, get more, especially like a third, like that 2nd, 3rd round pick range. You can really get some nice players there. But Breece Hall is number 1. We don't use him right. Like, he's never given, like, we've always kind of forced him to share, whether it was with Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter, you know what I mean? Like, there's always like this plan with him that we're not just giving the guy 20 carries. Like last year, we had the 2nd most passing attempts in the NFL. What does that mean? That means Breece Hall ain't getting the ball,
That's facts. Yep.
And it's like, I think, nobody can argue that our offense, our offensive staff, number 1, couldn't fucking develop anybody. There's not a single player in 4 years that group developed. Nobody. As a matter of fact, guys like Ruckert, Max Mitchell, Carter Warren, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, they all regressed under Denzel Mims. They all regressed under this staff, right? So there's that. Number 2, you can also say, how many times we go, what the fuck game plan is this? What are they doing? You know what I mean? So when you look at a guy like Breece Hall, who we know is a stud, we've seen him. We've seen what he can do. With the fact that they're underutilizing him doesn't mean that it's on him. So, like, again, he's a big batch of big satchel of talent that we haven't even tapped into yet. So for me, I get it. Like he's a, he maybe has some value, but like Gunny said, we're going to be selling low. This draft is stacked with running backs. It's deep. There's a lot of good running backs. I was looking at a guy called Ollie Gordon recently. You like it, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like every year you can look at these guys, but look, here's the thing, Ron. Breece Hall is here. He's under contract. He's cheap. He's a stud. Why create another hole to fill? Now, next year, you got a decision to make. And I know the logic, the idea of like, well, if you know you're not going to re-sign him, then get something for him. I do understand that logic, but here's the other side of that. Getting something for a player doesn't always mean a draft pick. It could mean an entire season of actual football. Like run him into the fucking ground, dude. Like, and not like not in a nefarious way, like try to kill him. I'm saying like, give him 20, 25 carries a game. Throw him the ball 5, 10 times. Like, dude, Breece Hall out of the backfield as a pass catcher. Get him in space. We've seen what he can do.
Yep.
He's amazing in the open field. And not only being elusive, dude, he'll knock your head off. How many games did we see him run? At the end of the run, the player that he runs into has to get carted off. We've seen it. The guy's an animal. So I'm not a big fan of creating a hole where we don't need to. It's not like he's a $10 million, $15 guy. He's cheap.
Facts.
Dom, what's your thoughts on that one?
I'm with you. I'll say this. I can be convinced either way. Like, if the deal is something you get a Godfather deal for Breece Hall, on draft day.
What does that look like to you when you say a Godfather deal? What do you mean?
You get somebody that wants to give you a second round pick, or a third this year and a third next year, a third this year and a fourth next year, or something like that. You get something that's too good to turn down.
Pass up. Yeah.
You at least it's a conversation. But I'm of the belief more so that listen, I'm gonna utilize him. I'm gonna give him a chance to do and be utilized the way that he can really excel at. I'm gonna run him. I'm gonna run him and I'm gonna let him play his ass off for his contract. Because I'm not saying this is everyone, but when do most people have their best years? When they're playing they're playing for their contract, right?
Yep.
Then make the decision after that.
All right, so I'm gonna put a poll up there. Here's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna make this painful. Okay. So if we had to make one trade, if we had to trade one player, who would it be? Now let's talk a little bit about value. So Quinnen Williams, right? He was the 3rd overall pick. He's got 2 All-Pros. He got 1 All-Pro, 1 All-Pro second team, and he's got Pro Bowls, right? So when you take a first-round pick, that's what you're hoping he can be. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. We saw that again this year. Granted, it wasn't spectacular with the sacks and all that shit, but he was still one of the better defensive tackles in the entire league this year. What are you getting for Quinnen Williams, Gunny? Like if in a trade, we were talking about the other night, there were people saying a first and a second. People are saying a first this year, a first next year for Quinnen Williams. You're definitely going to get more than a first for Quinnen Williams because, again, a first. Yeah, of course you would.
You're not.
What are you getting for Quinnen Williams? Hey, look, think about Dom. Think about this. You're going to you're in the market for a defensive tackle. Okay. You're planning to use your first round pick. You're sitting at pick 15, pick 17, pick 20, and you're planning on using it on a defensive tackle.
GreenBean, you are overvaluing our player. And listen,
No,
and
I'm looking at it objectively.
Let me explain what I'm saying. Again, I'm not criticizing you. I'm not.
You're making fun of me in front of my friends.
How Quinnen Williams is 27 years old. Will be 27 years old this year.
Yep.
In the second year now of a big time money deal. So he's coming to the precipice. Now 27 is not the fall off the cliff age for defensive tackles. You know what I mean? But he's coming to the precipice of that. It's 29. 29 is the age where it's probably the downhill thing we'll call. You have to commit a lot of money if you're trading for Quinnen Williams. You're not going to get a first-round pick. You're just not going to do it.
You're absolute. Dom is crazy. You're absolutely getting a first-round pick for Quinn. Again, if just the money just went up $30 million again, the fucking cap. It's inconsequential. The money is going to be the smallest factor.
What did Brian Burns go for last year?
DeForest Buckner got a first-round pick. Chris Jones got multiple first-round picks. Like it's dude.
What did Brian Burns get last year when he got traded to the Giants? What did they trade?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah, second-round pick and
they
then
had a couple
some
of premium picks.
They got a second-round pick and they got some other day 3 stuff or blah blah blah. You're just not going to get a first-round pick.
Yeah, but
maybe
I think I'm with
You're
GreenBean
absolutely
because in terms of Brian Burns, he's more of a one-trick specialist, right? He's going to be a freaking pass rusher. But a guy like Quinnen Williams, he's proven to be not only a pass rusher, he can be a run stuffer, and he's been poorly utilized as well. We're talking about Breece Hall being poorly utilized. In terms of his usage, a guy with his athletic ability, I feel like he's also been poorly utilized.
Yeah.
It would not shock me if you get a team who looks at his talent and thinks, you know what, this guy will elevate my freaking defense. We're freaking on the precipice of becoming a contender. And you could finagle a first round pick for a guy.
No doubt in my mind.
I disagree. And Tony, we're not suggesting to trade Quinnen Williams. We're just
No, we're talking.
No,
I'm not suggesting anything.
This is a conversation.
I said I'm going to make a poll and make it hurt. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Okay. So I got Quinnen Williams. I'm going to say a first and a third. There's no fucking way. Dom's crazy. Dom is too logical sometimes.
What do you
There's no doubt. If you're going to use your first round pick this year on a defensive tackle, and you can get a guy that's already an all-pro, already
you're
that's all you're hoping that your defensive tackle pick ends up being.
Paying $75 million.
So what?
Over the next 3 years.
Chump change.
Okay,
dude. That contract was signed 2 years ago. In a year's time, it's going to be considered average.
Mm-hmm.
The cap goes up it went up $30 million this year.
How many teams have $25 million tackles that can afford? Let's say that. How many teams can afford trading for a $25 million tackle right now? Right?
I can't speak to that, but
there's probably
I don't know.
There's probably half the league that have 40 million in cap space or more, right? Probably half the league. I'm guessing on that. So $25 million of that is what, 60% of that $40 million cap? You're not spending. You're not doing. You might do that if you're one piece away, absolutely, but you're probably not going to give a first rounder. I just disagree. That's all. I disagree. I think.
Yeah, but here's the thing about your disagreement is that you're wrong. He's wrong, everybody. So look, again, and we don't know, but I'm putting it up there. I got Quinnen for a first and a third, Garrett Wilson, 2 firsts, still has 2 years on a rookie contract. Including his 5th. Breece Hall, 3rd round pick, Sauce Gardner, 2025 first, 2026 second. I'm putting it up there. Again, we've seen the trades. We know how the NFL goes. Dude, the salary cap is the least of these teams' concerns, man. It's manipulatable and it goes up. It went up so much this year that it made a $30 million quarterback free. That's what it did this year. Just that 1 year, from one to the next, whoever you're paying $30 million on the house, Gunny. On the house.
That's facts.
All right, Jonathan Francis.
It's on the NFL.
Right. Money is, I don't think anybody gives 2 shits about the salary cap. I really don't. I mean, of course, to a degree, but that's not the thing. That's not the thing. That if you feel like, hey, I'm using my first on a defensive tackle this year, if you can get fucking Quinnen Williams, who in addition to that is known to be a great teammate, never causes a problem. He's just a big sack of positives. You know what I mean? I think it's a no-brainer. Anybody give their first. Unless you don't want a defensive tackle, of course. I think it's not.
But here's to that poll, though. I don't know how it's gonna. I know how I would vote.
Well, vote. Yeah, I want to hear.
No, I did.
Again, it's all fantasy anyway. But I'm just saying.
No, absolutely. But I think it's a little skewed in the sense that you have 3 guys who play relative premium positions and a running back. And the running
Yeah,
backs
but
in
look
his
at the
last
value
year.
for the running back too. So, but it's lower.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So that's the thing. Like if you had to make one of those moves, like I wouldn't look 2 firsts. Maybe I would at least consider and have the conversation about Garrett Wilson, but I'm not. I don't know, man. I'm not doing it because it's not first, like we know this. It's not a guarantee that you're getting a player that's going to mean anything. Like we've seen it. Corey Davis was the 5th overall pick, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you just never know what you're getting. You think, oh my God, we got the 5th overall pick. We're taking a big stud, super strong wide receiver. And by and large, while he's been nice, he's a bust.
100%.
Who's that? Davis?
Yeah.
Corey Davis. Yes.
He was okay. Dude, he was gone.
It's fair to say he didn't pan out.
He was off the team in 3 years. Or no, maybe he had 4. Maybe he had 4. But like if you used a 5th overall pick on somebody and they're not on your team in 5 years and they didn't do he didn't do anything. He had like 1,000 yards 1 year. He had like 998 yards 1 season. The other seasons were nothing.
Yeah.
That's maybe not bust because he did produce, but definitely not 5th overall pick. So my only real point is you never know what you're getting. You know what I mean? You just really don't. So when you got a guy like a Garrett Wilson or a Quinnen Williams, they've proven what they are already. You're like, yeah, I'm going to use it first anyway on a guy. You know what I mean? So Jonathan Francois checking in, everybody. At least JD left Muji with some players, unlike Mac did for JD. Damn straight.
Yeah, 100%.
I know. And even Idzik left McCagnon we had no players. Well, he had full coffers, man. What McCagnon did, remember he had the 6th overall pick and boundless money.
All cap space.
Idzik
all
was
the cap space you can use.
Right. Idzik was a numbers guy. So he just spent his time cleaning up the salary cap from Tanny's party that he had.
Spree.
Yeah, right. So McCagnon, he had the 6th overall pick and money. He took Leonard Williams with the 6th overall pick, the consensus best player in the whole draft. He slid to 6 and we got him. And then he signed Revis, Cromartie, Gilchrist, Buster Screen. It was like a free for all, and he still choked. So yeah. Problem is JD he got all the big decisions so wrong. That's like, when you look at Zach Wilson, Dom, right? Like that's a whiff and we didn't build around him either though, the right way. He tried.
Well, listen, and I'll say this, and you're right. I think you can say their tenures with their careers were absolute whiffs in Mackay and Zach and so on and so forth. But I think the biggest, the 2 major flaws for, 3 really. I think there's 3 fatal flaws for Joe Douglas. One, for however you thought he drafted, good, bad, he had whiffs, but he had some great gets as well in there.
Yeah.
He was awful on the pro personnel side.
Oh my God.
DJ Reed, success. Every other, just about
Conklin can be considered a solid.
I don't know if Conklin can be considered success. I think he's kind of fine. He was okay.
Definitely a success.
Yeah, Conklin's a good one, but DJ Reed's the creme de la creme of the whole 5 years.
Every other free agent move that he made, not every, but the majority of the free agent moves that he made were awful. Right.
Yeah, awful.
So that's fatal flaw number 1. Fatal flaw number, and really the biggest fatal flaw is, he kind of thought he had that mindset of addition by subtraction, right? Like he thought everything was ready to go, so he pulled the trigger. He pushed all in with all the Aaron stuff and all that stuff, started kicking money down the road and doing all that stuff, trading pieces that didn't need to be traded, like the JF, like, He in essence wanted to get rid of JFM's contract that would have come up this year, right?
Yeah.
So take an $8 million hit last year to get ahead of the cap hit this year to sign your guy who was the tackle.
Reddick.
No, not Reddick.
Oh, Kinlaw, right? Kinlaw.
To sign Kinlaw, Which
It was really the Reddick trade. Like once that happened, that's when the JFM move happened. You know what I mean? It was really Reddick, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know if that, that ultimately is the decision that killed him. But you take that and his pro personnel moves and you tie it in with, sketchy drafting. The first draft was awful. The first draft was awful. Now you give him it's his first draft.
The COVID
It
pass.
really
It's the
didn't have to
COVID
be.
year.
His first draft was awful because his real whiff, in my opinion, was Robert Saleh. That was the real whiff.
Yeah. Well, that was
So-
the third point I was going to get is that
Yeah.
he had the coaching. The people that he had really coaching and developing were just
We're
bad.
garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once
But to
again,
be
a
fair,
coaching.
to be player's advocate, like Stalo was the top candidate in that rotation.
No, I didn't think so, Gunny.
Really, I felt like
I was 100%. Now, granted, I wanted them to fucking make a push for Iowa State coach Matt Campbell, but that was unrealistic. But I wanted, out of the guys we interviewed, I was 100% Team Dable.
I mean, not
that year.
I don't remember who I leaned towards.
It was we interviewed Arthur Smith, Kingsbury, Dable. I wanted Greg Roman that year. That was my guy. That was the number one guy. We didn't even interview him. But I know, and I hear you. And look, and to Saleh's credit, defense, no question, right? There's no questions. But again, he had 15 first-round picks on an 11-man squad. So
that
it's like,
helps.
You know what I mean? That does help. He had 7 first-round picks on his defensive line. Fucking crazy. So I mean, maybe, but that's the whole thing. Like, look, when he got here, guys like Becton, Denzel Mims, dude, we were all in love with them. They destroyed they just didn't know how to do anything offensively. And then we had to once again fire an offensive coordinator and the whole thing that we do around here. And so that to me was the big whiff with JD. Not disagree, dude. His free agency was garbage, but he did do really well on the scrap heap. Guys like Berrios, Quincy Williams, JFM, like he was able to
the undrafted free agents.
He did real well in that pool, but he didn't do well going because he was cheap. He was like frugal, so he wouldn't pay. He said, "I'm aggressive to the point of being reckless." I think sometimes you got to dip into reckless. Go get Conklin and I'm not Conklin. Jack Conklin, right? The tackle.
Yeah, from Cleveland.
Or Joe Tooney or whatever. Like you got to go get some of these guys, man. And he would whiff on Conklin and then go sign Fant for $5. Like, so that was his issue. So David Bruce checking in. My 3 favorite Jets were Corbett, Martin, and Mangold. Well, hell yeah. Back when we used to draft players that everybody, like they were just personalities, right? You loved them. Right? Like we had so many guys like Mangold, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, like David Harris, Wayne Corbett, Chad Pennington. Oh, I love those guys. I miss them. I can't believe we haven't really done shit since. It just kills me.
All right. So hang on. Before you get into this, all right, go for your
Well, and I got to do that. So wait, real quick. I want to remind you guys too about the amazing offer from the one and only BetUS, everybody. BetUS, guys, we're running out of time here. This is the end. It's February 20th. The offer is over at the end of February. A 150% bonus on your first deposit, up to $2,000, everybody. All you got to do is use that promo code YouTube150, and it'll also get you a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits, everybody. NFL's over. Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, politics. I love to say it. Darts. Anything you want to place a wager on, BetUS is America's favorite sports book to do it. Take advantage of this offer before it's gone, everybody. And I thank BetUS for hanging out with us. Once again, TL checking in. Great stream tonight, fellas. Friendly reminder, chat. Stop listening to the fake media clickbait. Plus, no first-round quarterbacks. No trade-ups either. Only trade-backs. Bolstering the roster should be the goal. Gunny, Dom, and I touched on this a little bit earlier. Do you agree, or are you buying into this? Hey, man, if the Jets want to go get Cam Ward and use a couple first-round picks, are you down, or are you with TL saying no trade-ups, only trade-backs? Gunny. Did we
Sorry,
lose him?
I mean, you broke up a little bit. Yeah, say that one more time. Sorry, you broke up.
Just are you with TL? He's saying no trade ups, only trade backs.
No, 100%. I don't believe there is other than Abdul Carter, right? I think that's the only true blue chipper, the only guy that I would go ahead and pretty much want to make a move for in terms of trading up. I'm not a fan of these quarterbacks. I don't believe there's a franchise quarterback in this lot. I just don't believe in Cam Ward. I don't believe in Shedeur Sanders. The Jackson Dart, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, hyperbole is getting out of hand, in my opinion. I do not want to risk assets this year. Now, if you're telling me in 2026 we're trading up everything, I'm talking about multiple first, seconds to get to number one or whatever it takes to get one of those quarterbacks. Archie Manning is my dream scenario. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that is my dream. Nevertheless, you look at that quarterback class and you feel much more comfortable about putting the keys to the franchise in those guys' hands. Now, if I'm going to be, you know, the first-time coach that has to make the decision on who I want to tie my career to, it's not Shedeur, it's not Cam Ward. I'm going to go ahead and do everything I can to get into next season. I mean, hopefully you win some games this year. You put the effort in, of course, I get that. But I'm being honest. I think the Jets are in for a rough season this season. But next year, as long as you're adding components to it this offseason, so next year your franchise QB comes in and you kind of laid it out for him. It's easy, man. We've got yourself the offensive line complete. We've got you another receiver in the building next to Garrett Wilson. You know what I'm saying? The running backs are solid. Like, make it as easy as possible for our franchise guy. I think the defense is going to be good. There's just way too much talent on this defense for it not to be good. Not to mention, you got Steve Wilkes. You've got the head coach, Aaron Glenn, who's a defensive-minded guy. I think you focus on adding offensive weapons and support this year, and then next season, trade whatever you want to. If you want to go ahead and literally – I don't care what you do. Get the quarterback next year. I think those guys offer a better chance of franchise long-term success than any of the guys in this draft in terms of the quarterback play. So I'm 100% on board with what he's saying.
Yeah, I know Dom feels this. I mean, you know, we talked a little bit about it earlier, TL, about like if they slide back, you know, if like for whatever reason everybody passes on him as a quarterback sitting there, maybe it's a different scenario. If you don't have to, maybe. But I think I agree with Gunny. You know, it's just not the year. You know, you don't want to force it just because there's a guy there. And you can, doesn't mean that that's the right guy to do it. And again, Aaron Glenn's got to make this decision. You know, it's not a decision you make lightly. Like Gunny just said it, you're tying your career to this guy. Is this the guy you want to tie your career to? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think you can bring in a Justin Fields and have Tyrod, you know, and you can kind of get through this season. And maybe you catch lightning in a bottle. It's possible. He's 25. He's been getting a little bit better every year. Maybe. But if not, you got your backup quarterback and you make some real moves. You make some noise next year and see what you can do about getting up into the range of getting the guy that you want. And if we lose a bunch of games, then maybe we're already up there. Wouldn't that be special?
Exactly.
So, just out of curiosity, you believe how much do you depend on AI, GreenBean, in your normal professional life?
I use AI. I use ChatGPT to help me flesh out forms and things like that, policies and shit. Like I have to give it the basic info, but I love that ChatGPT will fill out my ideas for me. So I definitely use it, but I wouldn't say I depend on it.
Dependent is the wrong word. But if you ever play around with Grok over here on Twitter, their version of AI.
Yeah,
so
I'll show you guys something.
I just asked Grok to predict the 2025 offseason. You want to hear what they have for the Jets?
Yeah. I'm dying. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
The Jets reset with the youth movement. Context. New GM Darren Muji and coach Aaron Glenn inherit a mess with Aaron Rodgers and Adams likely gone. The Jets need a fresh start at quarterback and more draft capital. Our prediction, the Jets trade Garrett Wilson to the Chargers for a 2025 first and a 2026 third rounder, banking on Breece Hall and Sauce Gardner as their young core.
Grok's an idiot.
They signed Justin Fields, 2 years, $40 million. As a high upside quarterback, and draft Jackson Dart from Ole Miss in the first round to compete.
Ugh.
See, and
Now.
this is why AI has a long way to go. Everybody that's worried about it taking you over for your jobs or whatever, you got time. You got time.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm not done.
Oh, there's more.
Hammer my
Well,
point.
but before you get into it now, I just want to show you what Grok. My wife asked Grok. I forget the specific direction she gave it, but this is Grok's version of me. You ready? What do you think?
You know who that looks like? What was the guy of that? Oh man, what was that?
That's Grok's version of me. Who's it
No,
looking
it
at?
looks like
Grok is off.
Grok's version of you looks like the guy who was the head of that weird cult in Waco.
Yeah, the David Koresh.
David
yeah.
Koresh, yeah.
Yeah, nah, that's not it.
So
That's
to hammer my point about Quentin Williams and his trade value, Grok also predicts that Tennessee trades Jeffrey Simmons to the Buffalo Bills for a 2nd-round pick this year and a 5th-round pick next year.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, again, I think all AI just proved is that it's so far from being dependable that we've got plenty of years to worry about, them taking over the world. We're not going to worry about AI taking over the world anytime soon if this is the kind of logic it's putting out there.
He also predicts that Aaron Rodgers and Tay Adams both sign as free agents with Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers gets 1 year, $25 million, and Tay Adams gets 2 years, $40 million.
That actually sounds feasible, if I'm being honest. That sounds very feasible.
Let me show you what else Grok did here. I'm going to show you. I gave it a couple prompts. I think I asked it to make an angry. Well, you know what I did? I asked it to make. Let me show you here. Let me do something. I'll show you something. So I asked to make it like a spiritual. Make me as a spiritual Jets fan or a happy Jets fan, right?
Oh, happy. Huh.
Yeah, something. So here's what it did. All right, wait. I'm going to show
the
you
algorithm. Trying to find a picture of that.
Yeah, but I said to make me, right? So here's what it did. Let me show you guys. This fucking thing. Where are we? Where is it? All right. You ready? See it?
That's
Why
a
do you
new
look
logo,
like-
bro.
Hold on.
That's actually pretty fire right there.
Right? Isn't that good?
Has anybody else seen Dragon Ball Z?
No.
Because you
That's
look
like,
just like Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that's anime, right? My kids, I think.
Anime, it is.
Yeah.
That is exactly what Master Roshi looks like. Am I saying that right? Is it Master Roshi? It's Goku's freaking trainer. That I mean, it looks good, but it looks like anime.
All right, let me show you. So I forget the prompt for this, but look at this one it made for me. Where is it? Let me see here. Come on, this thing here. Like, look at this one. Come on, what happened? Where'd it go? Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
There
it
it
is
is.
Master Roshi. I wasn't sure for a second. I got him.
Look at that one.
Oh,
Dom,
now that should be your next logo. Now that's gangster.
This is Grok. It looks like, I mean, it's convincing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, I fuck around with Grok sometimes. Let me show you this other batch it made for me.
I actually haven't looked at it at all.
Oh, you haven't messed with Grok?
Nah, I've been.
Oh, you got to
with,
play around with Grok, buddy. It keeps improving too. It's like 4.0 or something. All right, last one I'll show you guys. I think I forget what this prompt was too. Look at this. Angry Jets.
Okay, I guess
That guy's sinister. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to use that one as the logo. That one.
No, not my logo. But oh, you like that? Look at these guys. Look, yeah, Bean in Tokyo.
So is Grok okay? I want to ask a stupid question here. Is Grok its own individual like AI app, or is it just
No, it's on Twitter.
Okay, great.
Yeah, if you got a blue check, you can use at least certain levels of Grok. Well, let's do a prompt right now before we get out of here.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Let's see. So what do we got? Give me a prompt for Grok.
New York Jets win the Super Bowl with Justin Fields as the quarterback. Not sure if that's too much.
Well, let's do with Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
With Aaron Glenn as head coach. Let's see what it says. Predicting whether the New York Jets will win a Super Bowl with Aaron Glenn as a head coach is inherently speculative. Yeah, no shit. It gave me like, dude, it's like a full article. I can't read this garbage. Let's ask it to draw something for us, Gunny. What do you want it to draw? Dom, give me a prompt. Give me a chat. Give me a prompt. Then I'm going to end this poll, see which trade they would have taken.
I don't know. I can't think of anything to draw.
Give me a prompt. First prompt in the chat. We'll have Grok draw it. What do you got, Gunny?
I was going to say draw the New York Jets first round pick in this particular draft.
Show us the first round pick, yes.
Show us the first round. Yeah, there. Show us the first round pick. If it says Jackson Dart, I'm throwing it out the window.
All right. I said, show us an image of the New York Jets first round pick in 2025.
There we go.
Let's see what it comes up with here. I don't know who the fuck this guy. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like Aaron Glenn. Yeah, that's who it is. It's like it's just giving me pictures of Aaron Glenn. All right, that's not working. Who's got something? Hold up. Any fan here entitled to their opinion? Don't do that. Yeah, what's Jeffrey yelling at people? Don't yell at each other, guys. Everybody's nice in here. Everybody can talk. Everybody can have their opinions. Even when Dom's wrong, he can have his opinion. Right? All right. Well, with that all said, it's 10:12. I think we're done here tonight.
10:12.
Yeah, 10:12, buddy. I obviously didn't think it was that late. I thought it was like 10:03 or something. Gunny, what do you got coming up, buddy? Let the chat know.
Yeah, again, catch me on Tuesday nights, Hangout. We just discussed and talk about the new Jets, what the latest news is. I got a show also on Tuesday right before mine at 7 p.m. Eastern with Connor. So me and Connor Long, we jump on.
I gotta respond to Connor. Shit. All right. Thank you for reminding me, Gunny.
No, all day. Listen, Connor's doing big things, man. Like this
Connor's the man.
He is. I don't know how a kid that has to worry about freaking school. He's also a writer as well for Jets X and has time for these many podcasts. But Connor finds a way. Another dedicated Jets fan that's just all about freaking getting us the news. So definitely check out Connor's channel.
We're all going to be working for Connor soon.
At some point, we will be.
Yeah.
At the rate he's going, at some point we'll all be working for Connor. It's just a matter of time.
You know it.
I am doing. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the season opens up. There's going to be a Joe Namath jersey giveaway given to one of the first 2,000 subscribers upon that achievement happening. So for me, it's an autographed Joe Namath jersey. We're doing that right now. But if we're able to go ahead and achieve this before the draft, I'm going to do the autographed Joe Namath jersey. I'm also going to go ahead and include the autographed signed mini helmet and an autographed jersey of another Jets player. So 3 giveaways if I can get the 2,000 before the draft or by draft night. So if you guys are not following me on my channel, please just go over there to the New York Jets Situation Report. Try and get the 2,000 before the season gets here. The faster I do it, the more so I'm going to go ahead and give away. Thank you to those who subscribe.
There you go. We got to get Gunny over 2,000 subscribers. That's it's time, everybody. Come on.
I'm ready.
Gunny deserves your support. Before we ask Dom, I want to let you know that the poll ended with this. So I said, if you had to make a trade, and I put our 4 big stars up there, Brees for a 3rd round pick won the poll with 32%. Quinnen for a 1st and 3rd came up for 25%. Garrett Wilson for 2 firsts came up with 21%. Sauce for a 25 first and a 26 second, 20%. So pretty even dispersed. Of course, that doesn't mean I want to trade anybody around. We're just talking, looking at shit. Dom, what do you got coming up, everybody?
Oh man, I'm all over the place. I am real deep involved. I got a opportunity to contribute to a draft guide, so I am
Oh, nice.
compiling my scouting reports. I'm writing down all the tight ends, so I will be the tight end guru for us Jets fans in 2025. On top of that, you can always catch me on Monday, Talking Jets show with Ryan, and the best show on YouTube, the 10 o'clock mock, right here with the one and only, the only interactive mock draft available on YouTube, where you guys make the choices and yell at us anyway.
That's
For
right.
having such a bad draft.
That's the way we like it. So
Be
that's
like
at 10 p.m. on Monday nights. And don't forget, guys, it's now a 4-hour mock draft extravaganza. It starts at 8 p.m. at Jets Talk 24/7 with Ryan and Tigo. Then Ryan hops over to the Talking Jets Network with Dom C from 8 to 9. And then from 10 to the wee hours of the morning, Dom and I have the 10 o'clock mock with you guys controlling the action. And then we do comparisons and see which draft was the best. Nice and fun. I asked Grok to make me a Buffalo Bills fan getting beat up by Jets fans in the snow, and it won't draw it. Why won't it draw that?
Don't know.
Brock is on some bullshit right now.
A Bills fan getting beat up by Jets fans. Won't do it.
That should be easy enough.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much.
It's making one. Let's see what it makes. If it's good enough, I'll show it to you guys before we get out of here. Oh, it's so stupid. It's like, oh no, yeah, well, they're all smiling though. I don't like it. There should be some blood.
It should be blood.
It's just the Bills fans surrounded by Jets fans. That's dumb. All right. Well, guys, I want to remind you one more time about the great offer from BetUS. 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. All you got to do is use the promo code YouTube150. That is the deal, and that is our show. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. Hit that like button, everybody. Good night. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man. I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.